afternoon, sir.
Yes, please take your seat.
Thank you, sir.
Gentlemen, you are qualified as BTech
Yes, sir.
Computer Science and served in different companies.
Yes, sir.
Developed your skill in software also. Okay.
Yes, sir.
What inspired you to come to administration?
Sir, basically there are three reasons to it. First reason is I was fairly restricted to a production support job while my third instinct in a MNC, in which I did not have much growth and expansion as well. Second was a personal reason where my father fell sick, so I had to take care of him, and regular visits of hospital was not possible in Bangalore. And third reason was I was working in EMEA timelines, that is Europe Middle East timelines. So my work used to start at around 1:30 p.m. and last till 10 p.m. So I was not able to prepare concurrently. Sir, in my experience in the computer science industry, I was fairly exposed to three roles.
सीधा जो प्रश्न पचाला केमती अप्लाई करके इफेक्टिव एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन करि पारियो ई गवर्नमेंट को यू बेटर देन अदर्स सेटा खाली
So, sir, I have an experience in service delivery in event management and automation. So these days we are implementing various schemes. These schemes needs to be monitored regularly, and for monitoring regular schemes, we need regular inputs from the block development officers as well. So I have an experience in creating dashboards as well as ensuring feedback forms which can help in monitoring the schemes. Second thing is
you will be selected there. For example, there's Tahsildar. You can find that some of your staffs, like revenue inspectors who are working under you, are involved in corruption. You have got an information. What to do?
Sir, the very first thing I will try to do is talk to them personally regarding the allegations that has been done in their name. Yes, sir. Then once I talk to them personally, I think I would have given them alert that I as an individual know about their whereabouts and what they are doing. The second thing I will do is I will try to ensure that our particular block I will give it a name, that this block is corruption mukta block, as in to give a social sensitization that this particular block or the office does not deal with corruption. And I will try to ensure that there is a corruption cell as well, or a feedback form which is available where people can drop.
हाईली क्वालिफाइड खाली प्रश्नटा को सुनियो से भाई मो पचारती जे तुम पर्टिकुलर तहसील ऑफिस ब्लॉक पचार तहसील ऑफिस रे रेवेन्यू इंस्पेक्टर 8-10 रहबे जने इंस्पेक्टर करप्शन होतिल पब्लिक कंप्लेंट्स आसिल तुमे तहसीलदार हिसाब रे कोन करिवो वीडियो आड को जीव नै तमरो सिस्टम अछि से सिस्टम टा कोन एंटी करप्शन केमती प्रोसेस तुमे कोन करिवो से जिनटा देखियो There is a process. Now, suppose you are there in a block, say for example, video. There are certain people you have found in one panchayat, they do not have land.
Okay.
They are landless. You want to give them benefit in agriculture, but they are landless. How has video will initiate your actions?
Landless, sir, I want to understand the question. By landless, you mean?
They do not have any land.
Okay.
Either to stay farming home or to cultivate. Okay. You are unable to provide them some farming inputs because of land. You want that they should get land. How you will react for provision of land to them?
I will first check if there are any government schemes where we can actually give them the lands. The second thing, if land is available, that if the land is suitable for the occupation we are giving them. If the land is not suitable for farming, then it's of no point of adhering them.
Suppose there are lands, but how to give them? Who will give them? You cannot give a video. The correct authority is Tahsildar. Okay. You give the information to the Tahsildar, then Tahsildar will take up. The scheme is called, under which scheme the lands are given to the landless. पढ़िबो सरकार सब वसुंधरा scheme.
Vasundhara.
Scheme. Okay. Now what is Harishchandra scheme?
Harishchandra scheme.
What is CM Kisan scheme?
CM Kisan scheme is a new scheme launched by the current government, where they are planning to give rupees 4,000 in addition to the PM Kisan scheme to the farmers, all the farmers,
In what form?
in the form of DBT, direct benefit transfer.
4,000 one time or two times?
One time per year.
CM Kisan one time.
I think so.
Yearly how many times they are giving?
I'm not sure about it. I will read on it.
Okay. There is Subhadra Yojana.
Yes.
Payment is given to
The women who are in between 21 years and 60 years of age.
all women.
No.
Okay.
Those who are filing income
What is
taxes,
What is the mode of payment?
it's a direct beneficiary transfer.
How much?
5,000 in 2 installments. 10,000 every year.
On which date?
On Rakhi Purnima and International Women's Day.
Why these 2 days?
To empower women.
Why these 2 days?
With these 2 days, because these 2 days, I will read on it.
सेमती आर दुईटा जो पेमेंट होची पीएम सीएम किसान रो पर्टिकुलर दुईटा डेज होची तार जस्टिफिकेशन होची ओके नुआ खाई रे गोटे दियाते व्हाई नुआ खाई
Okay, sir. I'm not aware.
सेटा रहला लिंक दैट इज पर्पस बट द मनी विल नॉट बी वेस्टेड ओके एंड द पॉइंट इज दैट there has been a potato crisis still it is continuing in our state. Why?
Because in early 2014, when the government came up with the scheme, it was expected that all the stakeholders will be able to
long term past immediately जो cause है कौन है
immediate
14 ରୁ ଚାଲିଥିଲା ହେଲା କିଛି हो ନଥିଲା ସେଟା ଫେଲିୟର ହେଲାଣି ଚାଲିଥିଲା immediately କାଇଁ ଏବେ ମାସେ ହେଲା ହେଇଛି immediate cause is this.
There is a supply chain break, which procurement, which West Bengal was sending to Odisha. The very first thing. The second thing is we do not have enough cold storages, which was one of the immediate causes. That why didn't we have the stock for the emergency causes?
We have a need of this much of potato and production is this much.
Production failure of the Odisha potato.
Statistic दे दो Now, for solving this issue, state government has very recently taken a decision. What is that?
For potato crisis?
जो 3,000 को पहले हतर गोटे डिसीजन नहीं साइलेंट गवर्नमेंट
For opening cold storages in every district.
Every subdivision for your clear है ना so starting
The last 5 years, what are you doing?
Sir, I left my job in 2019 end. In 2020 and 21 half till 21st July, I prepared for the exam thoroughly. I cleared in the first attempt, but however I could not qualify for the interview. And then there was a mismatch between the UPSC syllabus and the OPSC syllabus. Hence, I dropped that year for OPSC and gave UPSC.
That is in the year
2022.
2022.
Yes, and when the syllabus merged in 23, I came and gave the OPSC exams.
Okay. But the kind of subject that you have chosen and studied, from computer science to political science, okay, is it a cool calculation or what is the reason behind that?
Sir, as an individual from school, I was very good at civics. So I used to score good marks.
In which subject?
Civics.
Civics, okay.
So that was one inspiration for me. The second point being, I had a fair interest in the Western political thought.
Western political thought.
Yes.
Okay.
And the third reason being, as a computer science engineer, I was fairly restricted to online news portal, where I used to get regular information on international relations.
Okay.
So that was the reason I chose this subject, because I thought sitting in the office I could easily get a day-to-day information which would be helpful to me.
Okay. So, who are the political thinkers from the West that you are so fascinated about? I mean, you take interest in knowing?
There are a few, But
Right.
however, I am very much interested in the idea of J.S. Mill.
Just Mill.
Yes.
John Stuart Mill.
Yes, sir.
What is his philosophy?
Sir, his philosophy coincides with the Indian philosophy of freedom of speech and expression, and the idea of that a harm principle, that until and unless I am not going to interfere in anyone's personal affairs or any affairs which I do not have enough authority to, I am, if I am not, I should not interfere in anyone's personal affairs or in any affairs I am not authorized to, then the government would take its course, or there is a right to recourse. So in India also we have the same thing under Article 19 and 21. Every person has its own freedom of speech and expression, and my freedom of speech and expression should not be beyond the public morality and not affect any person.
You are an Indian.
Yes, sir.
You belong to the eastern part of the globe.
Yes, sir.
But you have interest in the Western
Yes, sir.
thoughts. What are the basic differences between the Western thought and the Eastern thought?
Sir, the basic difference between both the Eastern political thought and our Indian political thought is, Indian political thought is based on the collaboration of Dharma Shastra and Danda Shastra, while the Western political thought is more about governance, stability, and consolidation of the empire, which was in fragmented form. We can give the example of Machiavelli. Machiavelli talked about Italy. Italy was in fragmented state. So he talked about king becoming brave like a lion and clever like a fox. While we can cite the example of Kautilya. Kautilya was a person who talked about a collaboration between a king becoming a king who can run the empire by ensuring that both we have a standing army where we are military strong as well as economically strong, while the Western does not talk about economics, does not talk about ethics, while Indian political thought talks about polity and ethics. Indian political thought also takes inspiration from Gandhiji, where he talks about politics without ethics is a death trap, while Western political thought mostly speaks about politics and ethics are two separate things, and these cannot be together, and no country or no constitution has the right to interfere in anyone's personal space.
But Gandhi's concept is more in practice in Western part of the world or in the Eastern part of the world?
More
the
in
kind
the
of morality that kindness, work for the society, socialism kind of thing. What is your view?
sir, I think India is practicing more Gandhianism as compared to the Western world. Gandhi's primary principles were ahimsa and satyagraha. Indian, we have been practicing the idea of ahimsa and satyagraha in our day-to-day life. Like in USA, we hear the notion of gun culture. In India, there is no such thing as gun culture. Whenever we have any problems with anyone,
There is a gun culture.
yes, sir.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Where people love to propagate this gun culture?
Not exactly propagate, as in gun culture is a term used for the people in US who think that having a gun is fairly going to make them secure, as the government is not able to give them security. So their personal security is in their own hand. While in India, we practice the idea of ahimsa, where we try to ensure that whenever we have a conflict with a person, either we take a moral ground and try to resolve it within us, or go for policing, or go to the police who can help us to solve the issue. However, I don't see that there is anything which the Western countries take from the Gandhianism.
Nowadays, you might have heard in India, many things actually changed. I mean, the name changing trend, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Starting from state capital to the street, then bazaar, then college, etc., etc. But they changed some of the codes and statutes also. But some people apprehended that the government is also thinking of changing the constitution, Indian constitution. How do we look at that? Is it fair? I mean, it is the right time. What is your opinion?
Sir, I think this particular sphere of incidents which have happened in the past regarding the changing of names, like recently in Odisha, there was a discussion about changing the name of Revencha, while 2-3 days back there was also a discussion about the name already being changed of Port Blair to Sri Vijayapuram. So both are two different aspects if we see.
What about the constitution?
Yes, the constitution, sir, I think this is a political narrative which is being used by various political parties to ensure that they get their fair share, because in this particular country a particular party has been winning the elections since the last 10 years. So I think this is a political narrative which is being put forward to ensure that they garner the votes by somehow enticing the people that the constitution can be changed, and this is not going to favor them.
Yeah, that is there. I mean, it is up to the political parties. They make a buzz out of it.
Yes, sir.
So they can make their political capital out of it. That is there. But being a student or candidate from the political science,
Yes, sir.
what is your take? Should we go for changing the constitution? Is it the right time now? Because there are so many amendments, so many grey areas, loopholes, etc., etc.
We can change the amendment until and unless we do not hamper the basic structure of the constitution.
But changing a constitution and bringing amendment are not the same thing.
Yes, by the idea of changing the constitutions, it is a fairly not a good idea, because the constitution has been framed by the constitution makers who have seen India as a dream. The idea of B.R. Ambedkar, Mahatma Gandhi, Nehru have been the makers of the constitution. So
Is
they are,
it obsolete now? That is the point.
I understand, sir. I don't think it is obsolete now. Our constitution is flexible for a reason to accept amendments, but these amendments should adhere to the basic structure which has been put forward by the Supreme Court.
Now this is the 100th day completion of the government of India,
Yes.
and tomorrow state government is completing 100 days. Forget about government of India. What are the salient achievements of government of Odisha during the last 100 days?
The major thing I would say which happened yesterday was the distribution of the money through the Subhadra Yojana. The second point I will give that various railway lines have been given to the Odisha government by the railway ministry.
That is government of Odisha's achievement.
Question
That is government of Odisha achievement.
Okay, sir.
এটা দেখিবা
So I will read on
Okay,
it.
you can think about that.
I will read on it.
Okay. But with regard to this Subhadra, correct. Because they are beating their drums, government is beating the drums. This is the scheme that we have come up with, and we'll do this, that. There is much hue and cry, buzz all over Odisha now on Subhadra, Subhadra, Subhadra. But what is the intention of Subhadra and what we get out of Subhadra?
Sir, Subhadra is primarily restricted to two things. The first being empowering the women, because in our urban.
Tough here.
Okay, sir.
Where and how can we empower the women through Subhadra? That is the crucial point.
Okay. When we are giving them a certain amount, fixed amount of rupees 10,000 per year, they can use this amount to open small ancillary industries. Like there was a article in New Indian Express where they said that within 5,500 a particular woman can buy a machine which can create a agarbatti. So I see that this is helpful. But when we are talking about cities, when a particular person is restricted to tier 2 cities like Cuttack, Bhubaneswar, Puri, Raulkela, it seems a distant dream that a particular person will be empowered using rupees 10,000. But a person who is living in the far remote places, 10,000 rupees I think will be a good tool to empower the woman.
If you compare this vis-a-vis the earlier scheme of Mission Shakti, here they are getting only 5,000, is it? But in the earlier scheme SSG, they were getting interest-free loan up to 15 lakhs.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this 5,000 rupees for the gupchup now, 15 lakhs, they can get it. I mean, they are bringing it from the bank, they are dividing, lending it, and making money on monthly basis.
Correct, sir. This is one of the loopholes you have said. But Mission Shakti is also coexisting with Subhadra Yojana. Mission Shakti was primarily intended to ensure that those loans are not restricted to women as a whole. People used to take loans and had the obligation to return. And in many government reports, it has been clearly said that people take these loans and do not return. And it is out of government mechanism even to catch them.
What is the rationale?
Yes, sir.
I underline this. What is the rationale in stopping the Nuao and jumping to Subhadra? Nuao was meant for a particular bracket of beneficiaries. This is meant for a particular bracket of beneficiaries.
Okay, sir.
What is the rationale?
Sir, I'm not aware of it. I will read on it.
Nuao, you are not aware of it. It was meant for the students.
Yes, sir. I am not aware about all the features, so I will refrain from answering this.
Correct. And I'll be happy if you can tell me what is the burning issue in India right now?
Internally, we have two important issues. First thing is the election in Jammu and Kashmir, where the current government is talking about that the abolition or the abrogation of 370 has brought peace in the valley, while concurrent regional parties of Jammu and Kashmir are talking about restoration of 370. This is one of the burning issues. The second issue being the issue in Manipur. The issue has been extended for more than 2.5 years, while the government has not been able to find a resolution between the Kukis and the Meiteis.
Okay, if you let us move towards the Manipur. What kind of solution can you prescribe to the government?
So today morning only Amit Shah talked about there are 2-point solution which has been prescribed to solve the resolution, to have a resolution between the Kuki and the Meiteis.
Is it so easy?
It's not easy, but we can take a step.
Who can do that?
Only the central government can act through various arbitrators to help. First, the central government should look at maintaining peace in the valley. The second thing being understanding the concern. The Kukis are fairly concerned about two things. Number one, land rights. Number two, autonomous district councils. So the central government has paved a path.
What is the main cause of continuation of this kind of situation?
The main cause of continuation of this situation is under-representation of Kukis in the political sphere of Manipur.
Right now, it was there since long, but this situation is not ceasing. Why?
Yes, because there has been continuous deep state of China and USA who are involved in trafficking of arms and money, which is fueling the movement. So this cross-border insurgencies is fueling the movement, and
how is government responsible for this?
Government is responsible for the internal peace. However, the external problems which is happening, the government has to ensure that the government goes for diplomatic talks with China and USA to solve this issue.
See, you cannot stop US or China playing their dirty games. Their ventress military there. But what is wrong with us? Government is not actually getting the trust of both the one community and the other. Sir, unless it is assured, so they will not come to the table for talk.
We are not able to actually find out the arbitrator who would be able to talk for the particular community.
It's a failure then on our part.
It's a failure for the government in terms of maintaining the internal security.
Yes.
The government has to accept that we have failed in Manipur because it's been more than 2.5 years and the issue is continuously happening. So
will you agree with me?
Yes.
It is off the board talk when some collector doing something wrong or the people are accusing against the collector, immediately the government removes him. I mean, disturbs, transfers, isn't? But governor, being a kind of employee of the government, constitutional employee,
Yes, sir.
isn't? But even though a section of the community there against him is not being disturbed, so how can you restore peace? It's a question of trust.
Yes, it is a question of trust, but when we are talking about two separate things,
Yes.
when as a collector, when a collector is seen doing something which is not being accepted by the people of the region, the government finds it easy to put forward a new person who can give a better resolution.
Exactly, immediate solution.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Vijay.
How soil is formed?
How soil is formed?
Soil is formed.
So soil is formed by the decomposition of various materials and the rocks which are deep drained in the soil, deep drained in the earth years back.
How soil erosion occurs?
Soil erosion occurs due to a variety of factors. When the soil is when the soil is loosened up, the factors like rain or I'm not able to recollect the right features. So sorry, sir.
Okay. Which soil is having more soil erosion, whether sandy soil or clay soil?
It's a sandy soil.
I asked because you told when the soil is loosened, that is not the cause. Actually, that doesn't cause more erosion. That causes actually more infiltration, so less erosion. But in contrast, clay is having more overland flow, and that causes.
And it is resistant to everything, so it gets very affected more.
Yes.
That's the scientific
Yes.
reason.
Then actually we should have some measures for controlling soil erosion. So can you name some just broad?
So the very first thing for soil, we can ensure that we have created immediate bunds in the field, the raised platforms. Then we can go for terrace farming. Then the third thing we can do is we can ensure these particular fields are in a platform which is fairly raised enough so that the soil does not flow to a lower grounds if even there is erosion. Sir, that's
Vegetation, providing vegetation, methods of different cultivation, those are also required. Suppose if a soil is having cover, then there will be less erosion. And if it is also, you have given that bonding is also required, but failure, addition of organic matter and all that. Do you know millet?
yes.
They tell me some the name of the millets.
It's, ragi,
Hmm.
finger millets, pearl millets. I know these two.
Pulses,
Yes.
names of pulses.
Pulses are dals. And there are various kind of dals. So there is a diversity of dals found in our state also. And the first being the ahar dal, then the urad dal, and the horse beans.
Nitrogen fixing plants, do you know?
Yes, sir. I'm aware about it, but not the entire process.